This video is going to share with you everything you need to know about a very unique side hustle. In this video, we're going to be going over a side hustle with my buddy John. He basically flips anything that you might see at warehouses, and anything that you might think is garbage, he actually turns into an insane profit. So welcome John to the channel. John's going to explain everything about how he runs this business and how he helps people run this business all over the country. Thanks for joining the channel, John.
Hey, I appreciate it, Felix, and I'm glad we get a chance to talk to some folks about this business. I want to go over a few things just as a pretext, okay? And we kind of discussed it a few minutes ago before we got on camera, but there's several things you need to know about this particular business to begin with. First of all, what attracted me, I've been doing this for 22 years to begin with, right? In Birmingham, Alabama. So it's nothing to do with the internet. It's nothing to do with MLM or anything like that. This is not a high learning curve. This is a simple, straightforward business. Okay, so that's one. Number two, we get 95% of our product for free. And I'm not talking a little bit here, a little bit there. Lots of what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be a little cryptic at first, but that's 95% of it is for free. We do it solo, so we don't need other employees. We don't need a warehouse. We don't need all this overhead. We don't have insurance. It's really low, streamlined type of business. Okay, we can do it in a couple hours a day. Right. I took off this morning. I got a friend of mine doing it for me, but I did 2 hours yesterday morning. I'll go over those stats in a little bit and show you exactly what kind of money's involved with this business. And I'm sorry I'm being cryptic, but I want you to understand this part of it first before we move forward at exactly what it is. And then lastly, it's recurring revenue week after week after week after week for decades, and it's multiple streams of revenue week after week after week after week. So you add all those things up, and it's I feel like I've cheated life and cheated the business world for the last 22 years, and now, of course, I do teach people how to do this now. Okay, yeah. So I wanted to get that out of the way first, so folks understood those aspects of this business before we move forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like businesses. I always talk about this on my channel. I like business models that aren't like so heavily reliant on the internet, because if something goes wrong with the internet, you could literally lose your entire business at the snap of a finger. So the fact that your business, one, doesn't have a lot of overhead, and two, it's not solely relied on the internet, that to me is a pretty cool feature. Okay, so can you tell everyone exactly what you actually do and what the Simplest Biz actually is?
Okay, so let me start from the beginning, and you need to kind of understand why this works. So there's half the businesses out there that get truckload after truckload, warehouses and distributions and certain particular businesses that I'm going to teach you who they are, of course, that get inventory in day after day after day. Truckload after truckload after truckload, okay, of their inventory. So it gets in their warehouse, they take that inventory off, and they're placing it on shelves, and they're mailing it out UPS or on certain different hand trucks and all this type of other stuff. So they are my supplier. Yeah. And the byproduct from that business is something nobody ever even thinks about. And there's 2 billion of these products. They're wooden pallets. Okay? So before I go any further, we don't lift any of this stuff. Yeah. But there's empty wooden pallets. And there's also crates and drums and dunnage and 55-gallon drums and wire spools and all this other stuff comes into play. But it's free product. They are inundated with this stuff. Once they get their inventory off, they stack up by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands. So again, there's 2 billion pallets in the United States circulating on a given day. Wow. So that's half the equation. We got to become exclusive for that supply, right? Where that's our money, and they're my warehouse. That particular supplier is, and there's hundreds and hundreds of those. Yeah. Okay, and then on the other side of the equation, we have businesses that are manufacturing things, and they're making things, or they're distributing things, and truckload after truckload's coming up, pulling up to theirs, and they're putting their inventory on there. And guess what? They have to have those pallets. Yeah, they do. In the way cities are constructed, all these businesses are really tightly knit together, And if you learn this the right way and then learn an exclusivity for the supply and how to help that buyer, because there's a lot of times they're doing things wrong, we are driving in to that supplier. They are pulling out with a forklift, loading my little truck. It's a 12-foot, 8-foot long. You can rent a truck. You can get somebody who has a truck. You can broker as well. So don't even worry about that part yet. They load it up. I pull out of their parking lot, take a left, take a right, take a left. Literally 2 blocks away is my buyer. And they need these pallets. They need it to ship their stuff out on. So they got 5 or 10 trucks coming in a day, and they're loading that on there. Those pallets are gone forever. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They're being shipped across country, across town, doesn't matter. They're gone. They run out. They need more. So you have this balance between the supplier and the buyer day after day. Dozens of suppliers, or hundreds and hundreds in any given city of suppliers, on 50% of the equation. And then the other 50% of the equation, they need them to ship it out. So I'm showing you how to do this.
Basically the middleman.
Point A to point B, the middleman.
Wow, man, that's just hearing you say that is just crazy, because it's just another way that you can actually make money. People think you got to run out there and work a job, or you got to do the typical things that you got to do to make money. But the fact that you're taking wooden pallets, and I've used to work in a warehouse years ago,
Mm-hmm.
those things are stacked up by the dozens in the back of any warehouse, or in different spots. So it's just crazy that you're taking these wooden pallets that most people just look at as literally garbage and turning them into I guess a full-time income. I gotta know, man, because I had the same experience when I discovered one of the business model that I talk about a lot, which is flipping diabetic supplies. I gotta know how you actually discovered this, because I have like a pretty cool story with my particular how I discovered my business model. How did you discover this, and what would the first day or first week or first month actually look like for you?
It was pretty incredible. I've been doing this for 22 years. Okay. And I've never had to work a day job. I feel like I kind of cheated the system. But back in 1998, I used to do remodeling. All right. And I had a partner. His name was Dane. And we, back then, we went to a job, and it was in December, and it was, got up to the door, and there was a note on the door. The people had to go out of town at the last minute. So the job fell through. And we got back in the truck, and I said, Dane, what do you want to do? And apparently he knew a little bit, because he said, well, let's go pick up some pallets. And I go, what's a pallet? And he goes, those wooden things that warehouses move around. I go, and do what with them, Dane? And he said, well, come on, I'll show you. So 6 blocks away from that, I don't think it was that even that far. The first place we went to had 2,500 pallets.
Wow. Okay.
Didn't know what to say or we stumbled all over ourselves. Regardless, just by sheer will, they gave us those 2,500 pallets for free.
Wow. And
at that moment, I went, holy crap. This is a business where you get stuff for free, right? Yeah. But back then, I was kind of, I said, where are we going to take these to? Well, pallet yard, didn't have any customers, didn't know who a customer was, didn't even know customers existed for this back in 1910. Yeah. Didn't know I could get those lifted. So back then, we were lifting them by hand. Ridiculous, right? About killed me. But still, over a day and a half period, we were moving those 2,500 pallets to a pallet yard. Yeah. Did we make a killing? No, but it was by sheer volume. It was pretty cool, right? Well, the next the next place we went to had close to 2,000 as well, and we started taking those to that pallet yard as well. And that's not how I run this business, by the way, just to let you know. But I didn't know any better back then. And I realized when I got to that pallet yard that second time, those second set of them, those pallets I'd taken the day before were gone. I'm going, wait a minute, where do those pallets go? And I realized they had customers for those pallets. And I said to Dane, I said, we've got to find customers. We've got to figure out who these customers are. Mm-hmm. And so I told him to meet me the next morning. Dane doesn't show up. I don't hear from Dane for 2 more years. He leaves me out there in the wilderness with this, cool idea. Yeah. And he ran off with some girl. Oh, God. And she was cute. She was pretty dang cute, I got to admit. I used to just talk about her incessantly. And anyway, it was actually more than 2 years before I talked to him again and told him about what happened and all that. So that started the process. and it took me a lot of time to figure out. I painted myself in corners back then, did a lot of things wrong. I was dealing in one little size pallet all by itself, but I had to figure it out. And now it is a well-oiled machine. All the things I've learned over the last 22 years, where I have exclusivity for supply, I can move all types of pallets and help that supplier the right way and consult the buyers the right way now as well. So that's what I teach in this training is the right way to do it. Don't try to do it the way I did in 1998.
The right way. He's probably thinking like, damn, John I gave him a little glimpse of what's possible, and this dude ran with it.
Exactly. And he was a cool dude, but I guess girls, right? They'll throw you for a loop. But that's how it all started, and I never did another remodeling job from that week. I replaced my income.
Yeah.
It wasn't like huge back in 1998, but it was like 78,000. The accounts I got the first week trying to figure this thing out, I replaced my income. Wow. And I never had to go back. And I still have 4 out of the 6 to this day.
Wow.
With thousands and upon thousands of recurring, repeatable orders from those initial ones, plus a bunch more, of course, since then. But that's the longevity of this. And
so this is something that could actually be turned into a full-time. I mean, could you make how much could you make from doing this business?
Well, let me. I took some notes. Actually, a friend of mine's doing it for me this morning, but I took some notes because I knew we were going to talk to you, Felix. So I did some from yesterday morning. Remember, we get 95% of this stuff for free, so the overhead's like funny, silly.
Yeah.
I still, I'm giggling on the way to work still. So 120 pallets was my first pickup yesterday morning. I have a 12-foot long, 8-foot wide flatbed. I started with a pickup truck back in 98. It was, but I did 120 times $6 per unit. Okay, got them for free, so it was $720 on the first delivery. It took about 35 minutes because I was only going 3 blocks from the place. The second one, and this repeats every week, the same order. But the second one, that place I take those to, they also supply me with corrugated boxes that they don't need.
Wow.
They fold them down real nice and put them on a pallet, right? So there's 100 on each. So when they took off that last load of stack of pallets off my truck, they put on 200 corrugated boxes.
Wow. On
2 separate pallets, 100 on each, and had it bound down. Well, the buyer for that is 4 blocks away from that location. It's very efficient. So 200, and I'm getting $4 a piece for it, right? For those corrugated boxes that they normally pay like $6.50 for new ones. These are lightly used, and they love paying me $4. So that was, 200 times 4, $800. So, and then the last one, I did 100. It was 100 pallets at $5 a piece. So that was another 500. So we were right at the $2,000 range for yesterday morning, and I was home. I started at 6:45 because I'm just older and I get up early. I don't know why. You can do it anytime, but I was home around 9:45 yesterday morning. Because we're not trading time for money. We're trading units, and it ain't hard to move several hundred units in a couple hours, especially since we don't have to travel far.
Yeah, I got you. So my question is why did these people just not take them down the street? I'm sure these warehouses know these other warehouses. Why do they even need you? Why not just put them in there? They probably got big trucks, put them in their big trucks and ping them down the street. It makes extra money. No?
They're not in that business, right? Yeah. And they're struggling enough just to keep their health fulfilling the orders that they have. And they never stop. So the suppliers, day after day after day, they start stacking up. Well, guess what happens? The owner finally says, hey, if it's not for me, right, if I'm not around, who knows how to move all different types of stuff, they're having to either throw them in dumpsters and have the dumpster emptied 4 or 5 times a week, 3 or 4 or 5, depending on how big the business is. Or they're having to come in on a Saturday, miss football, and pay their guys time and a half and take perfectly good product to the dump. They don't have time they're not in the pallet business. They're in the whatever business they're in business. And truthfully, they look at those pallets every morning walking in the door and go, God, they don't want to deal with them. They'd rather, I've said this before, they'd rather give themselves a root canal than even, they want it off their plate, and we're here to help them.
Yeah.
And you got to know how to help them the right way. I'll give you one little tidbit to help you understand. There's scavengers out there, right? Competition wise, they're going after one size pallet and they're selling it to the pallet yard. They're doing what I did in 1998. But the lay of the land is for a supplier, just to give you all some insight, a lot of times they're going to have 4 or 5 different styles of pallets. They may have corrugated boxes as well. Well, you need to know where all those 4 or 5 different styles are going and who needs those different, or even mixed loads of them, right? Because you become exclusive for that supply over and over and over again. So I know that's a little bit of a rabbit hole, but I want you to understand, if you know that and get exclusivity for it, you have this money sitting for you day after day being regenerated basically in the form of pallets or crates or drums and dunnage day after day, because it's the byproduct of that business, and they don't want to deal with it. They want it off their plate.
They probably want to stick to what they're doing. They don't even want to deal with that stuff.
It never stops. So it's like, oh God, I got to deal with it. And then it costs the business money to bring their guys in and get rid of them and take them to the dump or something on their trucks. But that's not their business model.
Okay, makes sense. So another question I have for you is like, so what kind of businesses do you even find these from? Like, do you have to like knock on doors and hey, I got I'm looking to buy pallets, or how do you actually go about that?
It's a little bit of proprietary information you're asking me there, but in the training that I have, it's called the Simplest Biz Training. I have a file drawer inside. It's step by step video format of the field, but there's a file cabinet in there. It's showing you all the different places that are supply, how to scout from home, right? All those different types of business, not just for pallets, but for crates and drums and dunnage and all this other stuff as well, and the different size pallets, specifically the types of business we want to deal with that generate I'm not talking 5 here, and I'm not talking going to Walmart because you couldn't get them there anyway, and I'm not talking about retail. There's specific businesses we deal with that generate gobs and gobs of this stuff, right?
Yep.
And I want to guide you to those businesses, and then I have a huge list of who the buyers are for all these different products, and I guide you to those, and then I show you how to do it online, how to actually scout online as well.
Yeah, so
easily.
You could be at your house. Sounds like you could be at your house, set the day up, go out there, flip these pallets, and come home to a check, or come home to making money. So I don't want to ask you too much about your business. I know you kind of have that exclusive to the people who want to learn more from you. But
right.
Like, how much do you actually? What's the profit margin on these? Are you buying for 50 cents and selling for $1? Are you buying for $1 and selling for $5? Like, how's the profit on these per pallet?
It's crazy because there is one size that I'll pay $1 for, $1.25, and I'll sell it for $6.50, $7.50, depending on the grade of pallet or if it's heat treated. I don't want to get you complicated and all, but I'm still making 6 times money on that. But that's only 15% of my business is that one size. The other 85% of the stuff I'm getting for free, and in some cases, the business is in a situation where they will pay me to take it away, and I still can sell it.
Wow! So they pay you twice. You get
exactly. You're double dipping on both ends, and then there's haul off stuff. I mean, there's so many different revenue streams built into this thing. So I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but I need to really help you guys understand this. If you had like 4 accounts, right? You got 4 customers buying from you. Let's say they're starting with pallets. Well, a lot of times they need another size pallet. So that's 2 revenue streams. And then they also need corrugated boxes. So that's a 3rd revenue stream. And they might need 55-gallon drums as well.
Wow.
By 50 or so. So each account is 2 or 3 revenue streams, and they're coming in week after week after week. And then the next customer might need dunnage, which is 4x4 pieces of lumber that are 8 foot long or 4 foot long. And I don't have to go into all that. You'll learn about it. And they need pallets. So that's 2 revenue streams for that customer. So you turn 4 customers into 8 revenue streams. That's really all you have to deal with. Because 8, 10, 12 revenue streams on a weekly basis, since we're dealing in units, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
a lot of money.
You don't need it. You don't need much more.
Right. So then you just get, if you know how to set it up and consult that business so you can lock yourself in and be the better problem solver for them and consult them on some things that they're doing wrong, that's when you're locked in. And that's why I have customers since 1988 until this day.
Wow.
And now it's just, I go play ping pong while they're loading my truck with because I've got to know them so well,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Or they're telling me stories about
Oh,
NASCAR or their erectile dysfunction
yeah.
issues or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
So that's really what it is after the fact.
But once you build that relationship, I mean, just in any other business, you build that relationship. It's the money's almost probably forever.
Right, right, and it gives you so much time after the sale is completed. Plus, we can, that initial thing, we can maybe start off with pallets, and then as time goes on, turn it into to pallets and corrugated boxes, like I was saying before, and add things into it and create bigger value within one account. And after that's all set up, the rinse and repeat process, it's simple. Pull in, load your truck, strap them down, go out, or have a friend do it for you.
Yeah.
And we'll get into brokering in a minute, which is passive income. And I know some of your folks probably really like passive income as well. So there's that part of the model as well.
So you're just picking, even if someone lives in I know I live in a little bigger of a city, but even if you live in a super small town, it sounds like you're just picking it up and driving down, because every city, I don't care where you live in the country, every city has warehouses or some sort of business coming into it. So it doesn't matter where you live, you could do this in a big city or a small city.
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way. I'm going to give you a couple stats. Like I said before, 2 billion pallets in circulation. There's actually stating this year it's going to be 2.5 billion pallets circulating in the United States. Now, I'll date this a little bit, even with the corona thing that we're going through now, it has jumped 10%. I mean, the amount of stuff is being moved because of the internet as well. All the people ordering, you got 100 million families ordering stuff. All that stuff swirling around. The government stuff is swirling around. So they even had to relax the trucking hours, so they can work more hours right now. But back to your question, I lost my place. What was it exactly?
You were basically talking about, does it matter whether you live in a big city, small city, any of that?
Think of it in this way. Every truck you see, every 18-wheeler truck, every flatbed, running down the highway, across your town, around your town, through your town, into your town, every one of them is loaded with pallets.
Yep.
Okay? And with corrugated boxes on top of those pallets, or 55-gallon drums. So anytime something of ours goes out the door, they never see it again. Sometimes it's 2 of our items. Run out, reorder. Run out, reorder. And one other stat I want to point out to help you understand how massive it is. 45% of all lumber in the United States is used for pallets.
Wow.
Not houses, not fences, not... Look it up. Go to Wikipedia if you want to. 45% of all lumber is used for pallet. 80% of everything, every bit of commerce moved in the United States is on a pallet at some point in its life cycle. So, look at this room behind me. Everything you see behind me, this desk and this monitor and this table and this rug, all of it at some point in time was on a pallet. So it's just how the whole world moves. It's the common denominator for everything.
Wow. I mean, I know, man, I got a box truck myself, so everything we move in there has pallets. I see them all the time. It's just kind of like a light bulb went off in my head. I want to ask you this question because a lot of people, especially when I show them the business that I do, they get so scared when they have to find both sides of the equation. Like, oh my God, I have to find not only sellers. Okay, maybe I know a seller. I see these. It's funny you say that because I drive past this warehouse all the time from where I live, and I always see these pallets. But what scares a lot of people is, but where do I find the buyer? I don't understand where I find the buyer. Like, I'm sure.
Well, that's simple. I mean, my training wouldn't be worth much if I didn't guide you to those types of things. Plus, we have a private Facebook group in addition to the training.
Yeah.
So all my students, and I have students in Canada and India, Mexico. I got a guy in China. He actually comes back over to Washington, Australia, London. I got a couple students, and the United States. Yeah. So we're all in there, and I got some smart students. So I supply you with who all the buyers are. But guess what? Day after day, hour after hour after hour, their students, have found some really cool things that I hadn't found where they live as well. So you have this massive database, ongoing, growing, ever-growing database of who the buyers are for everything. Even though I supply it in the training, it keeps growing, that information base. Same with suppliers, where these suppliers are. And then there's brokering. where I'll get into that in a minute, the brokering part, because it's really cool.
Yeah. Okay, now that makes sense. I mean, like you said, as long as you connect them in and you show them exactly what they do. I gotta ask because I got a truck myself. What kind of truck you got? You gotta have some super fancy truck, or do you
No,
have
I don't want my truck fancy. Because I don't want them to know what kind of money I'm making. So I kind of, I'm an older truck. I've had this last one for 6 years. It's a 98 F350, 12 foot long, 8 foot wide, right? But I've done it with a pickup truck. But let's say you don't want to invest in a truck, to begin with. I'm real big about the business paying for your truck. And there's two ways of going about it. I can fit about 120, 100 to 170, depending on the size of pallet on my truck.
Yeah.
And the average price being about $5 a piece, $6 a piece, $4.50, $4.70, they're in that range, and plus a lot higher. But regardless, what I would do in somebody's situation who's interested in doing this is to stack up a couple orders on one day of the week, right? To begin with, week one. You got 2 orders of 150 pallets. Well, go rent a truck from Penske or Home Depot has a smaller one, or the other one. Oh, Enterprise. They have flatbeds as well. And go pick up those 300 pallets. Deliver 150 to one, 150 to the other. Get them for free, sell them for $5 a piece. Well, that's $1,500. Well, you don't own a truck, so you have to pay $120 back to the rental. Right? So you net $1,380 minus $5 in gas. Well, guess what? Those same businesses are going to order again next week. And by next week, if you go through the training and all, you're not only picking up 2 loads, you're probably picking up 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. And you repeat that process a few times, put away $2,000, and go out and buy yourself a 12 foot long, 8 foot wide, 10-year, 15-year-old older truck. They're like horses. They last forever. Mine's, like I said, at 98, and then I've been using this last one for the last 6 years of the 22. Had one truck before that as well. So that's what I would do. Or brokering. And brokering is you're setting the deal up. I'll give you an example of one of mine, because you don't need a truck to do brokering as well. And I have students doing brokering exclusively. So one of my deals is I have every Friday and every Monday, 550 pallets are delivered on Friday, and then 550 more on Monday. So it's a 7-day operation. Well, it's 80 miles south of me, right? The business is. And I don't want to drive out 80 miles. I like driving 2 blocks instead. So that's 1,100 pallets a week. And it's a brokering deal for refurbished pallets. So my margin's not that big, but I set the deal up. So I'm making 75 cents per unit on that brokering deal, right? So it's $825 a week. But I don't leave the house, and I don't have to drive 160 miles total to do it. But then there's custom built pallets as well, where the markup's $2, $4, $6. I got one for $68 per unit. All right, so there's that part of the model where I show you in the training where you can match buyer and seller, and you have someone else doing it, not your employees. Don't worry about that. It's not complicated, but you need how to do that part of it right, and you can sit at home and make it up. And one last point, student out in Houston, it's been about 6 days ago, brokering deal, 80,000 crates, 3 phone calls. He only made $1 a piece, 3 phone calls, and he pulled in $80,000 on a brokering deal.
That's crazy. I mean, at that point, it doesn't matter even if you do got a nice truck, I mean, what can't you pay with $80,000? So, and it's the information. I tell people it's about getting the information, because it's the information. I never even heard of flipping pallets until just a few weeks ago when we connected from YouTube. But just the thought of flipping pallets could change your life, could make you almost $100,000 in a month. Mm-hmm. That's insane to me. So that's crazy. So I know you said the truck doesn't really matter, and I know you said you got your buddy going out there today doing.
He's doing it for me for today, and he does it every Friday. I can have him do it every day of the week.
Thursday. Today's Thursday, right?
Yeah, I know. He did it for me today. He does it also on Friday.
Oh, Friday.
But
okay.
Right, every Friday he does it for me. But today's Thursday. I had him do it because we're doing this today.
Yeah.
So he's working for me, 2 days a week. I could have him do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But my wife's an expert at making these honeydew lists, and I want to get out of the house and dodge her, at least delay it a little
Yeah.
bit, because she's really good at it, and I love that I have the time to do them, but she's just too good at making honeydew lists, basically, really what it comes down to. And if I want to get out and move, and I've become close friends with my customers as well. These are blue collar, salt of the earth, funny as hell type people, and they're fun to be around, and they're easy to approach, and they're easy to talk to. And it's not like lawyers and doctors and boardrooms or anything like that. This is it's fun. Okay. Scavenger hunt with a map.
Yeah, nothing better than that. I just have a few more questions. I'm not going to hold you too long here. I know that we spoke before this. You were saying that it's not like you're out there breaking your back throwing the pallets on your back. You just pull in and they just put it on a forklift, right? And it's just simple as that, right?
Yeah. And I'll show you the tactics of where it's really efficient. I'm pulling in, my forklift driver's pulling out, and they're picking up stacks of pallets. I'm not talking 3 and 4. I'm talking, 120 pallets per load, putting them on my truck. The hardest thing I got to do is strap them down.
Yeah.
And, if you can do 15 pounds of torque in your arm, you're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, I'm driving from point A to point B. And fortunately, in some cases, I'm literally driving 300 yards from my pickup to delivery. I even have to go around the block so they don't see me. In some just to make it look like I'm coming in from a different direction.
Like you're doing something. It can't be. Like, hey, I might do this. You don't want them to get slick. How fast do you actually get paid? I was curious about, like, if you do it today, you get paid
all
tomorrow?
Right. So we got scavengers out there. That's what our quote unquote competition is, and you might have seen them in your city or town. They haven't bathed in 3 days. Most of them, they don't have any business sense, and they're really trying to make beer money, and a lot of them are getting in one size pallet. It's called a standard pallet, and they're selling to pallet yards, and they're leaving like 5 times the money on the table.
Yeah.
And then they can't ever become exclusive because they're not helping that supplier out. So, that's who we're dealing with as far as competition goes. And I think I went squirrel on you and lost my train of thought. What was the initial question again?
Yeah, we were talking about how fast can you get paid. You were saying some people, I guess people are doing
okay. That's why I was bringing them up. So they want beer money, and they go to a buyer, and they say they want to be paid in cash, right? Well, it's not very professional, right? I have some customers, since I've gotten to know them, they'll pay me upon delivery. You can do that initially. But let's invoice the folks. It's 7-day invoice, 7-day net. So stuff I delivered on Monday, I'm getting paid for today.
Oh,
Thursday, and some of them are a week, and some of them are 3 days, and some of them pay me right then, and some I have on credit card, and they pay me right then on. I charge it right then on the spot. So we want to make it a business, right? And we don't want our guy or the owner of the business have to stop what he's doing. When we deliver pallets, go to the accounting department, have their print up a check. So that's another way of us getting in the door. We're not like that guy, right? We make this an actual business, and we've consulted them as well on numerous different things inside their warehouse to make them more efficient and safer and more, and more productive as well. And so I want you to be able to consult these people and lock them in for a decade or more.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You might as well just stick it out a few days and get paid every dollar. So, wow, this is.
I've never not been paid. By the way, it's too important.
Yeah.
They see me too often. They're seeing me every week.
Yeah,
right?
they can't run. They gotta pay up. So, this to me was like still mind blowing. But I wanted you to kind of talk to everybody. So you've been flipping pallets for over 20 years. You've been doing this, life-changing money. I know that you shared with me that you have a program where you can you explain about your program, what it does, what you teach people?
Right.
Can you go over that?
Exactly. And I'll go through this a little bit in detail, but when I decided to do this, and that was by half, that's a whole other story, but I wanted to put it together in a way where I'm not just sitting behind my computer screen like we're doing now and just talking about it. I wanted you to see exactly how this business works. So I went out in the field to begin with for 4 months straight, and I recorded every aspect of this business down to a T. Every little trick I know, every little way of maximizing your profits and helping these businesses out the right way. Even down to negotiating. I have like a camera in my pocket and clandestinely negotiating with the businesses so you can see. And then I created a whole file drawer as well of all information, so you don't have to memorize everything. So it's broken down into what's called micro learning, step by step by step, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, right? To get started quick. And you are pausing, you're watching what I'm doing. Like if I'm going through if I'm going through scouting, I'm showing you exactly what to do, right? And you pause and you take action on it, right? So it's just step by step by step. And by the time you're done, you know where you're going, you know what you're going to say, you know what questions you're going to ask and have materials carry along with you. You know what's where, you know how to construct the deal, you know how to evaluate the deal, you know how to consult these businesses and help them out from doing some of the stuff they're doing wrong as well. How to sweeten it and what their pain points are. Okay. And then I didn't want you to feel all alone. So we have a private Facebook group as well with all the other students in there. And my students you can ask questions in there. You can post what you're doing, which a lot of students do as well. And then I have additional like 90 videos of just me of different in addition to the course, going over specific questions that have come up in the group as well. And that's never ending. That's an ongoing massive database for you to have lifetime access to as well.
So they get access to you. Drop my phone. They get access to you and they get to ask you questions. I always like programs like that because sometimes you buy into a program or you buy into an opportunity or a business, and when you pay the person, it's like they run off into the wilderness and you can never hear from them.
No, I'm actively involved. You know, this has put a whole brand new purpose in my life, and it's brought me a lot of joy to watch a lot of little me's going out there and doing that. Some of these are big me's.
The dude made $80,000 in a month. I mean, that dude probably
did over $1 million their first year.
Wow. So you can. This is
from a dead start
that has a potential to make you $1 million. This isn't no just little side hustle where you're making a few dollars here, which it could be. But
it can be. I got a retiree. He does it one morning a week. He does 2 deliveries. He pulls in right $1,100 a week. But guess what? He gets to play golf and fish the rest of the week and not have to worry about it. As before, he didn't have the money to do that.
Wow.
So it's about an hour and 45, 2 hours. You know that morning. For me, I probably could get it done in 50 minutes, but whatever. That's still great return on investment, and it frees his life up. So it's whatever you need as far as. I could do it all day long, but I got things I like. I like to record music and paint. And write music and other stuff that I do my wife's honeydew list. So and not feel guilty about it, that I'm just working a couple hours a day because the money's really concentrated in a tight window.
Okay, wow, man, that's crazy. So I know that you said because we kind of did this little video together, you were going to give the people who watch my videos like a discounted link. Not only did you say what comes in the program, but can you share with them one, how much the program and investment is, and then if they wanted to, is there a way that they could speak with you? Because I know a lot of people kind of like that,
Sure.
like what I do before anybody wants to have me teach them the game is, hey, do you want to speak on the phone? Is there any way I could answer questions
before they get in? You mean, right?
Yeah, is there a way people can speak with you, and then also how much is the investment to work with you?
Yeah. So, of course, you can speak with me before you purchase. And then you also have the Facebook group with conversing with me as well. Now, I get on the phone with people after they're actual students. If they have a particular deal they're trying to figure out, and they're out there, I like you to pick the phone up and call me and we work out the details and iron them out. But I want to be efficient as well. So if it's a normal question, y'all know where a 4840, wing pallet source is or something like that, ask it in the group. And when I answer you, I'm answering it for my other students as well. I still like to keep my life simple, but actually I talk to students all day long that, are going through particular deals. So for what I set up for you guys, I normally sell this when I do like a webinar type of thing with this. It's normally $2,597 that I sell it for. Mm-hmm. And, but we worked a special deal out with Felix, and I'm willing to take $800 off the course. All right. So $1,797. And as you saw, that I went over earlier, that's about what I'm making in a morning when I'm doing 2.5, 3 loads of pallets in a few hours. So think of that as your return on investment. Okay, to get my money back, I'm going to have to do 2.5, 3 loads of pallets in the lifetime of my business.
Wow.
Well, fortunately, it's recurring revenue. So
the course basically pays for itself. And do you guys have like a payment option? I know a lot of people are interested in
Yeah, I do. So that's option one, $1,797. They'll have like a 7-day window to get it at that price point. I'm not trying to be mean, but I got to figure out who's serious, right?
Of course.
So you got that, and then it goes back up. There's a timer built into the link, I believe, and it goes back up to $25.97 after 7 days. So that's option one. Option two, you have a $9.97 price point to get into the course. Okay, there's 13 modules in the course and a VIP section. The VIP section is the brokering section that we discussed. So if you're a partial pay, you get all 13 modules, how to move stuff point A to point B immediately. But I do hold back the VIP section, and I do hold back the Facebook group until you're a fully paid member. And that other $9.97 second payment is due in 30 days. So you got a 30-day window to do a couple loads of pallets, basically, to get that.
If you're an action taker, it shouldn't be that hard. And listen, a lot of people on the internet think, oh, he's just saying that. Listen, John gave me the link when I first discovered this. When I first clicked the link, it was $17.97. I said, it's just a fake counter. When I came back in a certain amount of days, that price was back over to $2,500. So if you're serious, I'd say jump on it now and get another stream of income. Because I always tell people, and I'm going to end it on this note, don't rely on one stream of income. I show somebody how to flip these medical supplies, and they think, oh, I'm making some money, and then you got a slow week or something happens, you got to have a few different income stream over here, an income stream over here, an income stream over there. So if you got flipping pallets, flipping medical supplies, and maybe doing another business, you could really secure your income and really
that's the money,
making real money. So I just want to say thank you, John, for coming on the channel and sharing this amazing business opportunity, literally turning stuff that most people would think of as garbage into a business model that could potentially, turn you into a millionaire, which is actually just mind-blowing. So thank you for coming on the channel. Very much appreciated. Anything,
Absolutely.
One more thing you want to say to them?
Yeah, I want to expound one little last bit on what you were saying about, having multiple different streams of income. This has allowed me, since I'm, normally done around 9 o'clock in the morning, I got the whole rest of the day to myself to decide of the things I want to do as well that interest me without the guilt, Yep. So I got interested in some of the things on the web as well, and it about broke my brain to figure some of that stuff out. But, I did spend 6 months after each morning. I would go from like 9:30 till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, trying to figure some things out that eventually did create other revenue streams. But those ventures, I'm telling you, compared to what I do, about broke me, trying to, and then Google switches something up and Facebook switches something up. But it's always allowed me, whether it's that type of business or my music or art, it's giving me that freedom to pick and choose the things I want to do. And now I get to try to help people get in that position as well, to where their life isn't all work, where they got some freedom to do the things they've had on the back burner or spend more time with the kids or family. So that's just so important. And I'm kind of speechless to be able to be in this position to help other people now, because it's really, it means a lot to me. Yeah. And I love watching it. And I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, of course, man. I like business models that are unique. And then two, I know your position, because I love doing the business. I still do the business that I share with people. But watching somebody go out there and, you basically light the fire under them for them to say, like, yo, John, I didn't even know I could do this. And now they're making life-changing money, which not only, gives you a good sense of, helping, giving back and, being a greater purpose to yourself, but also watching other people's lives just change right in front of your eyes. So I do appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on the channel. Maybe we do another video in the future. And like I said, guys, if you guys are interested in serious and want access to another business model that can literally put another 6 figures in revenue on the board, click the first link in the description. John hooked me up and everybody on my channel with a link that will give you an $800 discount. If you want a payment plan, he also has that. And thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Later.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, Felix. We'll talk soon.